Good morning. Yes, it is actually the morning. It's probably time to open those curtains because we need to let some natural light in. I've turned the back room lights on and it's time to let natural light in. Hang on a second. That doesn't look like home out there. So, yes, good morning. That is because, as you probably already have guessed, I am not at home. No, it is time now to finally have my holiday. It's 2 weeks off, 2 weeks just to relax. Okay, still going for a run, still do probably pretty much all the stuff I normally do at home. And yes, I'm by the seaside like I am at home as well. But of course, it's a change of scenery, and that's what I've been absolutely waiting for. I cannot wait just to get out and explore Bude. So if you don't know Bude, Cornwall, it is a place I used to have so many childhood memories. We used to come in so many times as a family. And yeah, we are back here after a couple of years. Came a couple of years ago. Thankfully, it's looking like the weather's going to be really good while we're here. Going to have a bit of a heat wave, hopefully. So should get plenty of footage. And of course, I'm still going to be doing my workouts. And I did bring, if you've seen some of my videos recently, a couple of fragrances. The first one that I bought was Lush Zesty, which is kind of pretty much a summer fragrance, easy to put off. Yeah, it's lime and neroli, but it's really strong on the lime. It smells like a lime drink, essentially. But the other one I bought, the other competition I did, was this one, Maison Tahiti Sauvignon. Now, it's not a big fat one. I'm not a massive fan of it. If I'm being completely honest with you, it's a little bit too heavy, a little bit too strong, particularly when it gets to the summertime. But it is a summer type fragrance. It's one that's got sea notes in it, and it's also got this very, very strong powdery vanilla, which gives us this kind of sun cream vibe. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to head up for my run in a minute. It's literally like 10 to 7, so it's still really early. Weather looks a little bit napped at the minute, but that's fine. And I'm going to do 10 reasons why, or 5 reasons why I think you should buy this one, 5 reasons why I think maybe you might want to stay away from this. So yeah, it's going to kind of be next 2 weeks, slightly different video, slightly different vlogs, but we're going to keep it quite simple for this one today, as I haven't been out yet and I want to go and explore the area as well. So you'll see some different clips today. And yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy these over the next 2 weeks. So let's put this one on. I bought this, by the way, in Liberty in London. This must have been a couple of years ago. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't really, because here it's a 100ml bottle, I haven't really got through too much of it. I mean, what, 30, 40ml? Really want to get through it a bit more. So that's why I'm bringing it here. It's a unique scent DNA. And hopefully that'll give me a good memory of being here. So yeah, sprayed it on. And yeah, it's time to head out now for this run. So yeah, main thing about this, as I said, is sea notes. And obviously this very strong vanilla accord, which might make me sneeze in a minute. So I'm going to press stop and I'll see you out there. And we are off, yes, the first run of the holiday. And in typical British weather style, it is raining, but I am assured, according to the weather forecast, this heat wave is coming, so I'm hoping it's going to be a holiday to remember for years to come for all the right reasons, rather than just feeling like we're getting soaking wet all the time. But either way, it is nice to have a change of scenery. I'll turn my phone around and just show you, because I'm heading down this hill. I don't like running down hills, but when you've got a view of the beach and currently an empty car park, it's nice. I remember many family holidays here, and honestly, you'd have to get up early to get here, otherwise the car park would be full with people going out surfing and all sorts of things. But if you look ahead into Bude, you've got this amazing sort of view of all these tennis courts. There's an adventure park on the left as well, and then you're just coming down in a minute. We'll cross over on a bridge in a minute, and yeah, it just takes you over this nice river that comes through Bude. It is absolutely gorgeous. But I think the main thing for me is, of course, holiday memories and just coming here as a kid. It has not changed at all in the... We must have come here when we were 6-7 years old, maybe even younger than that. So 25 years ago, it honestly looks exactly the same. It's like I've gone back in time. And I think that's the first positive we need to say about Maison Tahiti Sauvignon, is its uniqueness. This one, it's not that it's a smell that you necessarily say, oh, I haven't smelled this smell before, but it's strong. And I know with this, it's not just a generic vanilla type fragrance. No, you can tell, as much as I say I don't particularly like how heavy it is at times, which we'll obviously go on to later, it has got that uniqueness in terms of the quality. It's a strong powdery vanilla scent, and if you do like those strong scents, it's going to get noticed. It's going to give you that scent memory of being somewhere, because look, I've owned many vanilla fragrances, some that are more powdery, But this one is really, really heavy on it. It's almost like it's on steroids. It's so, so strong. And that gives it that uniqueness that we'll always think, whenever I get this one, if I do get this one again, it'll make me think, oh yeah, that takes me back to that time when, it was absolutely soaking and chucking it down with rain. But I was out for a run and enjoying myself on holiday. So that is the first positive. It has a uniqueness that gives you a strong scent memory. So on to the next bit. We are currently about to go past Bude Castle, which is just on the left there. Went in there last year. It's the first time I've ever seen my brother eat a piece of salad. We ordered a Cornish pasty because of course, you want to do in Cornwall. It's taking the culture, of course, and you can't beat a Cornish pasty. But we sort of assumed we'd get chips with it, but we didn't. And it was only salad, and I've never seen my brother eat a piece of lettuce or a piece of cucumber or anything like that in his life. But he did, and he finished it. And that was a huge shock. I managed to get it on film at the time as well. And he still hasn't eaten a piece of fruit for over 30 years. But he has eaten salad in the last couple. And here we are. We went on one of those pedlos as well last time. We were going to book it for a whole day. We decided, that'd be really good fun. Didn't realise how much hard work pedlos are. Booked it for an hour. Could barely move after. I had to sit in a hot bath to loosen my legs up a bit. But it was good fun. So anyway, let's go on to, I'm getting so distracted, you see, today. Let's go on to the second, or the first negative, the second point about Maisons Knees Albany. And I think it is that. I've just said how unique it is. It's very strong. It's very cloying. Now, they do this a lot with their fragrances. They're almost pretty much based around one note. So some of them are like coffee, some of them are chocolate, and some of them, of course, as we said here, are vanilla. And this one is definitely one of the strongest. It's heavy on vanilla. If you like vanilla and powdery vanilla, you'll like this. But on a hot day, if you're not a massive fan of those powdery scents, you're going to find this one quite heavy and a bit headache inducing. And for a lot of people, that's what's put me off, and that's probably half the reason. For someone who likes strong scents, for even me to find this one quite strong and too much at times, that's probably a reason why I haven't gone through the bottle a lot. So that's a negative. If you're someone who doesn't like strong scents, if you're quite sensitive to powdery, almost talcum powder smells, I'll probably stay clear of this one. Okay, so I've put you on the selfie stick now, and honestly, that is so much easier to hold. I don't know why I never do this normally when I'm at home. It'll make it so much easier. But I'm going to kind of touch on a point I did already make, and that is its quality. Look, for all the fact it is quite unique, and obviously for all the fact I said on the flip side of that, it can be quite cloying, I don't think you can knock the fact it does smell like a high quality scent. You can tell that oils in this aren't synthetic. And what I mean by that is, for me personally, sometimes when you get a very strong, cheap synthetic fragrance, they can almost be, you've almost got to let them just sit for a second before you actually try and start smelling them. With this one, you don't need to do that at all. Look, it's really heavy, as we touched upon. And whether you like it or not, it's not one where you go, that's burnt my nostrils. Yes, it can be strong to the point it makes you sneeze, but it's never because you think, that's really synthetic, or, it's very strong on that alcoholic sort of smell. No, this one is high quality. You could tell this isn't a clone, for example. Again, I've had plenty of clones of expensive fragrances where you have like that opening in it that's so strong, alcoholic blast, and when it dries down, it does smell like the original. But it's almost in that first 10 to 20 seconds, you can tell that it's not the original, just based on how strong that sort of alcoholic smell is. So yeah, that's the main thing here. That's what kind of, I almost say, would separate it from something else that's a bit cheaper, a bit more affordable, but also that similar smell. So if you're someone who's looking for quality in that sort of powdery vanilla range, I think this one's a pretty good shout. Now, on to the next negative here. You can only get this, from what I can see, in 100ml bottle sizes. Now, for some people, that's going to be a huge positive, quite a big bottle size, and for me personally, I always say 100ml is probably if I'm buying any fragrance, that's the size I like to go for, just because obviously per mil it normally tends to be better value for money than a 30 and 50ml. And I also think if you buy one and you really enjoy it, if you go and buy then another fragrance, you almost go, I love this one so much, I'm going to go get another 50ml or 100ml of it. You end up spending more in the long run anyway. So I always take that risk. I'm quite happy to take the risk. And with this one, look, I'm going to say that's a negative because personally, as much as I really like the fact it does its own thing and it is strong and it, you know, it's not a lack of quality, what I don't like this one necessarily, 100 mils a lot, even for someone who likes this, because of how heavy it is. And if you're someone who's probably getting into differential buying phrases, you've got to have a slight interest in them to even be looking for this brand. It's not a brand that many people know, which we're going to touch on next. So you're not just someone who's completely, you know, not into phrases. You wouldn't buy this if you didn't have an interest, and you probably have many in your collection as a result. And I think if you have 100 mil, this is going to be one that's going to sit around for a while, and you don't always want that, particularly if you are someone who is a bit of a collector like myself at times. So yeah, I think 100 mil actually works against it in this case, purely because of how strong it is and how you're never going to really want to overspray this one too much because of how heavy it gets. Okay, so let's do the next positive and negative together. There's a horrible smell of cow dung here at the minute, but thankfully the strength of Maison Tahiti Sauvigny is kicking through a little bit. So let's talk about that next one then. So I just said about its brand recognition, and I'll look at the positive side of that. Now for me, again, for someone who's into collecting fragrances, I quite like having a niche brand, a brand that people go, oh, I've not heard of that, you know, because it adds a bit of a conversation starter. I've had many fragrances where I've had a compliment, someone goes, what is that one? And you'll be surprised how little people know even brands like Acqua di Parma. And I'll go, oh, it's an Acqua di Parma, and then they'll almost get me to repeat, sorry, Acqua di what? And then you sort of go into it, you show them it, and then they go and try and find it. And it almost sometimes, and in my case, I've had two people that have actually really got in to fragrances because of what they smelt on me that occasion. And it's opened their eyes to the fact that it isn't just these traditional brands, Dior and Versace and whatever other brands you want to look at, Prada, that are out there that are selling fragrances. You can get really nice fragrances, potentially better than those ones that are more niche in terms of their smell and obviously the name, that make you stand out in the crowd. And that's what's helped me over the years. It's those ones that are they're the unknown brands that actually can sometimes make you more memorable to other people. Now, obviously the other side of it is if you're maybe someone who's not so into fragrances, you're probably going to want the brand name. People want Dior Sauvage for one main reason, as much as the smell. They know that's what everyone else is wearing. It's the same with haircuts. That I've just recently got a swim fade, and I know that's the haircut that seems to be the in cut at the moment. Many years ago it used to be that Justin Bieber haircut, where they always had the hair brushed to the front. And it's kind of what those trends are, and you find with like Dior in particular, with Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel fragrances in general, that's what people sometimes want and reach for. So brand recognition can kind of go one or two ways, and I tend to find, just from my own being stereotypical here, it tends to depend on how into fragrances you are. If you're someone who's really into them, you're quite happy to try something a bit different to get a bit more of a uniqueness. If you're someone who's maybe more just trying to please someone, please the crowd, and just have something that makes you smell nice, but you're not really into fragrances, you just want to be the show-off star, let's say, then you probably go for the brand name. So personal preference on that, but certainly a pro and a con on either side. Positive number 4, and I can finally say this after my journey yesterday, but from my experience, it is travel safe. So the journey we took yesterday took about, it must have been, I think it was about 7.5 hours it took. It was a lot longer because there was a lot of traffic yesterday. But it was absolutely fine in terms of how it travelled. I had it in a wash bag, but I had it in the side of the wash bag open. So there was a possibility with how much everything was moving around in the car that the lid could have fallen off. It fell on its side, and it could have easily leaked if the lid, the atomizer wasn't particularly strong. No issues at all. Held up absolutely fine. And yeah, it was, the lid stays on. It's a really good lid on this. If you're worried about things leaking, this one was fine because you could just literally pick it up from the lid because it actually clicks into place. And I'm a big fan of that. I know some people are big fans of magnetic lids, but I tend to find with those, particularly with bigger bottles as much as anything, the magnet's not always strong enough to hold the bottle. I wouldn't trust lifting a magnet with fragrances anyway. So for me personally, this one is absolutely perfect for that, and it's not too big and bulky. Yes, it's a sort of more cylindrical shape, but it's fine. It's not bulky to the point it really sticks out. So it's absolutely fine if you do want to take it travelling, whether that's you've got a long commute or something, or whether you're going away like I am. So yeah, I think it's travel safe. I'm quite confident to say that is a positive of this one. Okay, so I'm going to go for the next con. Again, this is, I appreciate all of these are subjective, and I hope you understand. That's why I want to reiterate it for why I think this is good and a bad fragrance in equal measure. And I think the reason I'm going to say this is a negative is just purely based on the volume of the amount of other vanilla fragrances that are very good that are out there. We know vanilla is the most utilised note in perfumery, and while I say this one has an element of uniqueness, I think it's quite expensive. Look, would I be able to pick this one out from a crowd? Yes. That being said, are there so many vanilla scents out there that even if they might smell slightly different, do I almost use them in the same situation? Yes. Look, there's many summer vanilla fragrances out there. I think there's one called Furs by Lush, which it doesn't necessarily, I don't know if it's got no vanilla in it. It's mainly about the furs or the gauze plant. But what it does smell like is sun cream. And it gives you the same vibe as this one. You can get that one for half the price. And that's a huge seller for me. Or certainly get it £20-30 cheaper than this one. I paid £90 for this one. Look, you can find it online for cheaper than that. But in general, you're going to be paying slightly higher prices for this brand, which again, if you're someone who's worried about brand name, brand recognition, you're just going to go, this isn't worth it, this isn't worth the investment, I don't know anything about this. It hasn't got a reputation of being a good scent or anything, so, or a well-known, reputable, respected fragrance brand, and for that reason, I think you're going to lean to more other vanilla fragrances. It's the most used note by a mile at the moment, and I think for that reason, why would this one make it stand out? Why would you go for this? And I'll be honest with you, if someone asked me that question, I struggle to give you an answer. I'd struggle to tell you exactly why this is the one you have to get, which you can probably tell from the points I've made so far. Okay, so number 5. Now, I'll be honest, I've only ever had one person ever mention this scent when I'm wearing it. And I would say that it's one of those where I wouldn't have gone, it was necessarily a compliment, but they just kind of said to me, oh, you're wearing something vanilla. And that was all it was. It was just basically someone saying, I can smell vanilla. And I knew it was me because of how strong it is. But I think this one will get you compliments. Now, look, do I think it's one where I think if I'm inside, I really want to wear this around people? No, just because I think it is so heavy and almost a bit too much for yourself and probably other people. You've probably had it where you've had phrases that you've sat in a room for 2-3 hours and you don't realise how strong it is. But other people do when they come in because you've got a little bit nose blind to it. This one though I think will get you confidence through strength. As I said, it's got C notes, it's got vanilla in it. They're the main things from this fragrance. And it definitely feels like it's got some sort of floral component. And at the end of the day, they're all quite recognisable. There's nothing in this that you go, oh, I'm not used to that smell, I haven't smelled that one before or anything like that. So the fact it is recognisable in terms of notes, there's nothing divisive in it, I think will mean it will get confidence. I think it's going to be one though, if you're outside maybe on the beach or even out on a run like I am at the minute. I'm not saying it's a running fragrance, which we'll touch on in a minute. I think someone will catch a whiff and go, oh, that's not nice. It's just not one you want to be immersed in for a long time. But if someone catches it on the off sort of chance, you'll get confidence. You'll 100% get confidence on this one. But we're then going to go, well, it's a massive van. This isn't the most scenic part of my run, I must admit. But then let's look at the second, or the final negative, the fifth negative. It's not that versatile, considering it is a summer fragrance. Now, why do I say this? Look, could you wear this in the winter because it's heavy enough? Yes. Could you wear it in the summer because it's got those C notes in it? Yes. Would I necessarily choose it for those occasions on either? No, I wouldn't. Would I? Do I think it's like a dress-up scent? No, I don't. I really don't think it's a dress-up scent. It's not serious enough. It's quite, for all the strength and the quality of the notes, it's quite basic. In fact, it's very basic for what you're sort of, what I'm used to anyway. You know, I like vanilla boozy scents. And sometimes those phrases they can obviously have vanilla in, they can have booze, they can have tonka bean, they can have rose, you know, they can have so many facets to it that this one doesn't have that, and it doesn't have that depth and complexity that makes me feel like I really want to wear it on those occasions. And obviously on the high heat summer days, I'm going to be leaning more to a citrus, so its lack of versatility for me has also made it quite difficult to know when to wear it. It's very hard to go, right, I'm going to choose that one over this one. And that's why I've taken it on this holiday, maybe just to give it a bit more of a run. You know, I've got 2 weeks here,
2 weeks to really try and take it in and see if I can, you know, it can change my opinion, because ultimately, as I said, this is my favourite place to be in the whole world. So I'm hoping it's going to give me those happier memories with it, which I'm sure it will on a dry day. But I hope you've enjoyed this one today. For those of you that do watch and comment on my videos as well, I think you're going to like the next one sort of coming up. Certainly over the next few months, it's going to be a little bit more personal. I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler, because if you've got to this stage, then I think you've done pretty well. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to look back at my latest sort of people who have commented, and if you are in the last, say, 10 people who have commented, I'm going to assign you a fragrance. Yes, I'm going to put a fragrance on you, essentially, based on how much I like you. And I promise, in that case, because you do make the effort to comment as well, some of you have for a number of months, I'll be very nice. So yes, look forward to that one, and hopefully enjoy. And hopefully next time you see me, we're going to have some lovely sunshine, because that's the plan on Sunday morning. But thanks for watching today. I'll catch you later.